Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnana Janashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mada cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwari Ma Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwari Ma Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwari Ma. Om Amriteshwari Nama. We'll begin with a short meditation. Only make sure your vertebral column, your spinal column is right. Slowly close your eyes. Bring your awareness onto your breathing. Breathing normally, but with full awareness of each and every inhalation and exhalation that occurs through your body. As you keep observing your breath, slowly and slowly you can feel the relaxation of the body as well as of the mind. Mind subsiding and having lesser and lesser thoughts. And now we'll chant the mantra Om 3 times. And as we chant mantra, the Om, kindly imagine the sound of the mantra rising from your navel area. And visualize the sound rising upwards along your spine, cleansing the body, the mind, and the atmosphere around you. Now kindly take a deep breath. Feel the reverberations of Om in each and every part of your body. And at the same time, feel more relaxation and feel completely relaxed. Once again, bring your awareness on your breathing. Again, breathing normally, when you inhale, chant the mantra Ma silently along with your in-breath. When you inhale, and when you exhale, chant Om. Chant Om when you breathe out. Along with your breath in synchronization and silently within your mind. Ma is a representation of divine love and Om of divine light. You need not visualize love and light, just imagine your heart being filled with love and light. Continue like that for some time. Slowly and slowly the reverberations of Ma and Om become more and more subtle. You can feel the vibrations of Ma and Om instead of the physical sound of Ma and Om. And now visualize your heart being filled with the light of love and the divine light. And visualize your heart expanding just like a bud that blossoms into a beautiful flower. Feel your heart being filled with peace, with love, with light, and with bliss. Now imagine this love and light going out from your heart to all the beings in this world, just like the rays of the sun. And as the light falls on each and every being, imagine they also become more loving, more peaceful, more blissful, and more compassionate. And while imagining so, we'll chant the Loka Samasta prayer 9 times. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Dhyayamo Dhvalabagunthanavatim Tejomayim Nishtikim Snigdha Pangavilokinim Bhagavatim Mandasmidashrimukhim Valsalyamritavarshiniim Sumadhuram Sankirtanalapinim Shamangim Madhusekta Suktim Amritanandatmikam Ishwarim Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Parambaram Sruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Logashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhadarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavandau Punah Punaha Ishwarau Gururakmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagini Vyamavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Amriteshwariyai Namaha Om Amriteshwariyai Namaha Om Amriteshwariyai Namaha. First of all, happy Halloween to everybody. Whereas in the Indian tradition, the festivals are being celebrated thanks to either recognition of the gods or the saints. In the West also they celebrate festivals for various other reasons. And just as today, we are celebrating Halloween. For the ghosts, for all the demons. And there are, of course, these traditions which have been followed, and we never questioned as to why we are following them or having them. But the problem is also we have to be extremely careful. I just read that when the children went for trick or treats, some of the candies had CBD in them, and they were given candies with CBD. So I know most of you are very careful, or many of you would have grandchildren, not children. So we have to understand, we have to be careful when we celebrate such festivals, and of course any festival for that matter. So coming back to our subject, Srimad Bhagavatam. In the last session, we were talking about King Satyavrata, who was Manu in one of the Manvantaras, previous Manvantaras, and how one day he was worshipping, and then he caught a small fish in his hands while offering the water to the gods, and then the fish started talking to him, and then the fish grew in size that he could not contain, and then finally he had to put it in the ocean. And where the fish told him, then he realized fish was not an ordinary fish, because it grew in size so rapidly. And finally he realized it was none other than Lord Vishnu, who has come in the form or incarnation as a fish. And he was also told that there will be a pralaya, a flood, where the earth will be completely submerged in water. And he had to carry all the species of animals and birds and all the living beings, and plus the plants. And he was to get into a ship, and the ship will be navigated by the fish, who will have a antenna, and the antenna will be, the rope will be tied, and the rope was none other than Vasuki, the serpent on which Lord Vishnu lies on Ananda Shayana. And so what happened was, as the pralaya was over, he was able to navigate through that thanks to the Lord's commands and his wishes. And the fish also, that is the Lord also, in the form of the fish, gave spiritual instructions while sporting in the waters of pralaya. And he imparted the subtle truth of the Atman in its fullness to the royal sage Satyavrata in the shape of the sacred Purana Samhita known as Malsya Purana. Malsya means fish, and the Purana means the story of fish, in which doctrines of jnana, bhakti and karma are discussed. And seated in the ship constituted of the earth, the king along with the rishis heard the exposition of the truth of the Atman and the eternal Brahman, which is the supreme consciousness, which drove away all doubts from his heart. And when that pralaya ended, that is the flood ended, and Brahma the creator, woke from his sleep. So the pralaya occurs when Brahma goes to sleep, and when the Brahma wakes up, the pralaya, that is the flood, ends. And Sri Hari gave him the Veda, having destroyed Hayagriva and discovered the Veda from him. So this was the main reason why Lord Vishnu took the incarnation of the Malsya, the fish, because he wanted to rescue the Veda from Hayagriva, the demon who had captured the Veda. And it is this king Satyavrata, endowed with knowledge and experience of truth, who has become the Vaivashvata Manu in the present Kalpa out of Mahavishnu's grace. So now the Kalpa, in this present Kalpa, in this present time, the Manu is known as Vaivashvata Manu. So it is Satyavrata who has become the Vaivashvata Manu. And they say, those who hear this great narrative dealing with the conversation between King Satyavrata and Mahavishnu, incarnated as fish, will be freed from all sins. So this is as I said, the Falasruti, the result of listening to all these stories or these expositions. And what is the beauty about it? He says it will be freed from all sins. Here sins means, the act of going away from God and forgetting about God. So remembering the God and all the stories, then slowly and slowly we'll feel closer and closer. Thus our sins will be freed. A devotee who daily adores the Lord with the recital of the account of his incarnation, of his will, have the fulfillment of all his wishes, having ultimately attained the supreme goal. So he's saying, another Falasruti is that if a devotee listens to this recital of the this incarnation of the God, and also he says who worships or adores the Lord daily. So that is also another prerequisite. So who worships God every day. And so he will ultimately attain the supreme goal. So that is another guarantee that the Lord is giving. And I salute him who is the ultimate cause of all in the guise of the incarnate fish, who restored the Veda to Brahma, killing the Asura who had taken it away when it fell into the Pralaya waters from the mouth of Brahma, who had become weak by the onset of sleep at the start of Pralaya, and who instructed the king Satyavrata in the truth of Brahman. So the story is that when Brahma had the Veda with him and when he fell asleep, it fell down from his mouth, and that's how the Hayagriva demon got the Veda, and he went away with the Veda, and Lord Vishnu went after Hayagriva and got the Vedas back and gave it to Satyavrata. So this is the end of the 8th skanda, or the 8th chapter. Now we are going to the 9th chapter. 9th skanda. So the 9th skanda, giving a brief introduction as to what is being discussed in this skanda or this chapter. So the 9th skanda, with 24 chapters and 964 verses, deals with Vamsha and Vamshanucharita, the genealogy of the great kingly and priestly lines, and accounts for some of the eminent ones among them. It is one of the 10 themes to be treated in all Puranas. And more of this will come in the 12th skanda also. And from the point of view of the modern reader, this skanda forms the most dreary of all the sections of Bhagavata. A parched desert, occasionally brightened by an oasis, here and there, of very inspiring accounts of some eminent devotees like Ambarisha, Parashurama, Khadwanga, Rantideva, Bhagirata, etc., and of the Rama incarnation. So in Rama incarnation means the incarnation of Lord Sri Rama. And the rest of it, apart from the brief dissertations on some more persons, consists of long and endless list of kings in their order of succession, with some details about a few of them. And there is no way of understanding from these descriptions anything about their dates beyond the vague idea of the yuga in which they lived, about where most of them ruled, whether they ruled at all, or what type of persons they were. And perhaps it's impossible to give all this information because their number is so vast. And the cumulative effect on the reader is not an enrichment of his own information of the past, but the promotion of a hazy sense of the vastness of the bygone times. So this is, we have to understand the amount of years that has gone by is something that which we cannot even comprehend. And so this is just trying to give a brief introduction to what all the main characters were in this time. And this perhaps is the main object of the author of a Purana like Bhagavata, which claims that not a word is said in it which is not related to the Lord and the cultivation of devotion towards Him. And this is made plain in the following verses of the text. I have narrated to you the stories of these great men who have spread their names in the 3 worlds and then passed away. All this literary effort is only to generate in you discrimination and knowledge by bringing home to you the very transitoriness of human greatness and worldly achievements. They have no relation to any abiding reality. And attempts are being made today by some modern Indian historians to reconstruct a sort of India's ancient history from these bewildering genealogical lists of the Puranas and the brief accounts of certain kings they give. So I don't need to give you any commentary on this. This is written by the author, not by any of the Bhagavata people who are mentioned here, none of the sages, nor the kings. So the author is saying this. So British historians in the past recognized Indian history proper as starting from the time of Alexander's invasion, which was 325 BC. and left all the ancient past of India as a blank. This, however, is a very undesirable position, as it gives a very imperfect background of India and its culture. So utilize the Pauranika material to fill up the lacuna is very desirable, provided one keeps its limitation also in mind. And that material is vague, imperfect in chronology, mostly bare lists without details, devoid of evidence by contemporary records, archaeology, historical concordance, etc., which are insisted on by history in the modern sense. So, if you ask this question, is there any proof? There is no proof. Because modern times you need proof, as I say, by either history or contemporary or records or archaeology and all these things. So there is absolutely no proof. And their traditions were no other source of information of an exact nature exists. It is valuable in spite of its imperfections, as even to have some vague information is better than having none. A very creditable attempt has been made to work in this field. So one of the authors had published a book called History of the Pre-Kali Yuga of India. And here, Pre-Kali Yuga means the time anterior to the demise of Sri Krishna, which took place in 3102 BC. So you can just imagine how many years of history has been wiped out because the Britishers rewrote the history starting from 325 BC only. And as he was also saying, there are no archaeological proofs, but still some exist. We have seen the photographs taken by NASA of the bridge that was built between Lanka, Sri Lanka and India by Lord Rama. That still remains. Then there are archaeological evidences of Sri Krishna's Dwaraka, which had gone under the sea, and still they are finding some of the the evidences that such an city existed. And he has collated the genealogies of princely lines given in the Bhagavata, Vishnu Purana, Matsya Purana and Mahabharata, and tried to arrive at a consensus of rulers from the time of Swayambhu Manu, the first of the Manus, to that of Vaivashvata, the seventh and the current Manu. He has, however, used much imagination in the process and discarded the Pauranika, that is the historical concept of time, in order to accommodate these lists of kings into the patterns of modern history. And the Pauranika, that is the past history of the present Kalpa, called Shvetavaraha Kalpa, and also Padma Kalpa, begins with Swayambhu Manu. And his two sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata, became the lords of the world. Uttanapada's line produced some distinguished rulers like the famous Dhruva, the tyrant Vena, the great emperor Pridhu, Shishti, Ripu, and Chakshusha, and the last of whom, much later, the sixth Manu. And Priyavrata's line was much longer duration. Some of the noted kings of this line, in which we will also discuss these stories, is Nabhi, Rishabha, Bharata. Bharata, the king, after which the name Bharat, India was known as Bharat earlier. And so it was given the name after the great sage Bharata. And Gaya, etc. Some 42 kings are listed in Sri Siddhanta Shastri's work, that is the author who wrote it. And it is to be noted that if we take the Pauranika chronology, obviously all these kings are supposed to have ruled during the 6 Manvantaras, that is from the Swayambhuva to the end of Chakshusha, which cover a period of 25,920,000 years. So you can just imagine, it's a 25,920,000 years. And this is an unavoidable difficulty that all who distill history from the Puranas have to face. All these forms of subject matter of earlier skandhas. And the ninth skandha, however, is concerned only with the kings who ruled during the supremacy of the seventh Manu, Vaivashvata, who in the previous Kalpa was King Satyavrata of Dravida country, to whom the Lord appeared as the cosmic fish, which we saw the story now, and who was born in his next birth as the son of Vivashwan, the sun deity, under the name of Shraddha Deva, known also as Vaivashvata, after his father's name. And the whole of ninth skandha is an attempt to trace the two famous royal dynasties of ancient India. So these two royal dynasties were very famous. One was the Surya Vamsha, which is the solar dynasty. The second one was the Chandra Vamsha, the dynasty of the moon. And Vaivashvata was the son of sun deity, and so that's why his lineage became as Surya Vamsha. And then the lunar dynasty, that is Chandra Vamsha, to Soma, the moon deity. And Vaivashvata Manu had 10 sons: Ikshvaku, Nriga, Saryati, Dishti, Karushka. So you don't have to worry about all these names. Nabhaga and Kavi. Of these, Ikshvaku was the ancestor of the king of the solar dynasty, whose number as given in the Bhagavata as 84. And among these are some kings very famous in the Indian tradition: Ambariksha, Harishchandra, Dilipa, Raghu, Aja, Dasharatha, and finally, above all, Sri Rama. So Sri Rama came in the Surya, the solar dynasty, Surya Vamsha, classified as a divine incarnation who has exercised an abiding influence on Indian culture. And the dynasty ended with Brahat Bala, who died in the Mahabharata war. So that ended with that, in the Mahabharata war. And there were also other subsidiary families of the solar dynasty, all descended from the Manu and his sons. Some of them are the Mithila kings, known as Videhas, the dynasty ruling the Vaishali, and the Saryati family, the Nabhaga family, the Nriga family. And so the second great kingly line, the lunar dynasty, that is the Soma Vamsha, was descended from the moon deity who had Buddha. Buddha, actually it's Mercury, right, for his son. And the moon deity himself was born of the tears of bliss flowing from the eyes of Rishi Atri, a mind-born offspring of Brahma. So both these dynasties have come from the rishis. So this is Rishi, it came from Rishi Atri. And whether the solar or the lunar dynasties were parallel kingly lines is not clear from the Puranas. So we don't know whether they were at the same time. But it is, however, known from the Purana that the last king of the solar dynasty, Brihad Bala, was killed in the Mahabharata war. And the lunar dynasty is of special importance to the Bhagavata. Why? Because in that dynasty, in the Chandravamsha, was born Sri Krishna, the description of whose glory forms the special theme of this Purana. And some of the illustrious kings of this line, famous in the Indian tradition, who belong to this Chandravamsha or the lunar dynasty, were Pururvas, Nahusha, Yayati, Puru, Dushyanta, Bharata, Hastin, Kuru, Sanatanu, Vijitravirya, Pandu, and Yudhishthira. So 76 kings of this dynasty are listed. And the line continued into Kali Yuga, also until it decayed with the march of Kali. And so the lunar dynasty had many branches, and so that's also, we don't want to go there. But the most important branch for the Bhagavata is the one containing the descendants of King Yayati, belonging to the main lunar dynasty. And Yayati had 5 sons, Yadu, Turvasu, Truhyu, Anu, and Puru. As Puru alone was dutiful enough to the father to assume the father's old age and give him his own youth. So we'll see the story of Yayati later on. And so he when he retired, made Puru the emperor and the other brothers as subordinate governors without title to royal insignia. Of the brothers Puru and Yadu are of special importance because the former, that is Puru, descended the Pandavas and Kauravas of Mahabharata fame, and from the latter, that is Yadu, the clans of Yadavas, Satvatas, Srinjayas, to whom Sri Krishna belonged, came. So in the last 2 chapters of the Skanda, the details of the descendants of Yadu up to Sri Krishna are given. While all genealogical details given in the 24 chapters of the Skanda may be of interest to historical researchers, the general reader will find them tedious and will be prone to skip them. But here there are chapters of high devotional and ethical import which the reader should not miss. We are therefore giving selective readings of chapters on the great devotee Ambarisha, and on Sagaras, Yajna, and Bhagirathas, King Bhagirath, bringing of the Ganga, that is the river Ganga, to the earth. And then the chapter on Sri Rama's incarnation. And then chapters for the story of Parashurama, who was another incarnation of Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And chapters on King Yayati and on his doings. And chapters on Dushyanta and Bharata and Ranti Deva. So this is a brief introduction to the 9th Skanda. So I just read that because some of you may be interested in knowing all these lineages and how all these things have come about. But it is interesting to note how there were the 2 different clans, the Surya Vamsha and the Chandra Vamsha. And as you know, as I was saying about earlier, it was at least 25 million or 26 million years of history. So you could just very well imagine how they are trying to capture this history through this Bhagavata text. So as he was saying, the main focus is on devotion. And the story of mainly the devotees, like as we saw that Dhruva and the Raja Harishchandra and all Sri Rama and the incarnations and Sri Krishna and Parashurama. So this is the most important things that which we are looking at. And Raja Parikshit. So Raja Parikshit is the last of the lineage of the Chandra Vamsha, the lunar dynasty, said, I've listened to the descriptions of the various Manvantaras you gave, as also the exploits of Sri Hari of infinite prowess in those periods. I heard from you that the royal sage Satyavrata, the king of Dravida country, obtained spiritual illumination through the service of the Supreme Being in the previous Kalpa, and that he became Vaivashvata Manu, the son of Vivashvan, in the present Kalpa, and that Ikshvaku and some others were his sons. O Holy One, I wish to hear about the line of Ikshvaku and other sons of Manu and the life stories of great devotees, kings born in their families. Narrate, O Blessed One, the accounts of those great ones to us who are always eager to listen to such narratives. Tell me about the great doings of the members of these families, famous for their piety. and of members who are past, who are now alive, and who are to come in the future. Sutta said, when thus questioned by Raja Parikshit in that assembly of Vedic savants, the worshipful Shuka, who had an understanding of dharma in all its phases and including the highest, said as follows, O hero, that he's telling about Parikshit. Why is Parikshit a hero? Because in spite of facing death within a few days, he's still having that attitude to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam and achieve the ultimate goal. So that's why he says, O hero. I shall tell you about the important families of the Manu's line. To narrate it all exhaustively is not possible even in 100 years. So if I want to tell you the whole lineage, it will take more than 100 years. And the Supreme Purusha, who is the indweller of all beings, high and low alone, existed at the end of Kalpa, this whole universe having dissolved in his being. Nothing besides him existed. And from his navel came out the golden lotus, in which appeared the self-created and four-faced Brahma. So, and what happened at the end of the Kalpa, that period, the whole universe was dissolved, and then nothing existed but from the navel of Lord Mahavishnu, a golden lotus came in which appeared Brahma, the creator. And from Brahma's mind was born Marichi, and from him Kashyapa was born, the Rishi Kashyapa. And to him Vivashwan was born of Daksha's daughter Aditi. And Vivashwan had by his wife Sabnya a son named Shraddha Deva, who became the Manu. That self-controlled one, also known as Vaivashvata Manu, begot 10 sons by his wife Shraddha. They were Ikshwaku, Nrga, Saryati, Drishta, Karukshaka, Narishyanta, Prishadhra, Nabhaga, and Kavi. So now we are looking at the lineage, as I was saying about the different lineages, and so here it is the lineage of the solar dynasty, and he's saying that before the birth of Ikshwaku and others, the Manu Shraddha Deva was without offering. And the holy sage Vasishta, endowed with great powers, had a sacrifice to Mitra and Varuna performed by the Manu for the sake of offspring. And the Manu's wife, Shraddha, was observing the Payovrata. You remember the Payovrata, the penance that you take with just only milk. Approached the sacrificial priest and prayed that she would like to have a daughter born to her. Okay, now the plot is thickening. So I have to give you a brief preview as to, when we talk about the gender changes. And this has been happening thousands of years ago. It's not now. And so this story is very interesting because not only that they are predicting about gender changes in the future, but also how the human behavior will be. So in one sense, you have to understand, even though there might not be a physical change, there might be mentally, there will be a change between the masculine and the feminine aspects. And so what happened? The Manu's wife she wanted a daughter. And directed by the Adhvaryu priest, the Hoda, or the sacrificing priest, meditating on a concentrated mind, made an offering with the mantra Vasht for the fulfillment of the wish of the Manu's wife. And though the Manu was performing his sacrifice desiring a son, now the husband wanted a son and the wife wanted a daughter. The difference in the Hota's prayers resulted in the birth of a daughter who came to be well known as Ila in later times. But the Manu was not happy having a daughter, and so said to his teacher Vasishtha in none too pleased a mood. So this happens many a times in India. They want sons because they believe that only sons will, or the boys will look after the parents and the girls will go away. In many cases, that's not the case now. The boys go away, but the women, the girls, are looking after their parents much better than the daughters are taking care of their parents than their sons. And he says, oh, worship. So he's talking to Vasishtha. And he says to his guru, he's saying, oh, worshipful one, how did it happen like this? It's a tragedy indeed that rites done by Vedic savants like you all should produce contrary results. How can this aberration take place in regard to a mantra? So he's saying, you know how to chant mantra so well. But there has been a mistake. Now a daughter has been born to me instead as a son. So he says, you are all experts in the knowledge and application of mantras. You also have the qualification of having mastery over the senses and also of austerity and freedom from sins. How can results be contrary to the desired one, come about as if the devas have begun to be untruthful? So he's asking this question. Many a times we also have the question to Amma. Why? Because many a times our wishes are not fulfilled according to our wishes, so our desire. And so what happens? Then we ask this question, isn't it Amma all-powerful, all-knowing, and why did she make a mistake? So hearing these words of the Manu, our grandfather Vasishtha, that is the Rishi Vasishtha, came to know about the change in the prayer resolution. So when you do the prayers, as we have seen in the end of the Homa, we say a resolution which is known as Sankalpa. So you take a Sankalpa. So you take Sankalpa for certain people and you do that Sankalpa made by the sacrificing priest. He said, follows to him the son of Ravi. Ravi means son, God, the sun god. This difficult situation has arisen because of the deviation of your sacrificing priest. But I shall, by virtue of my power gained through austerity, see that you get a male issue according to your wish. O king, deciding like this, Vasishtha, the far-famed and powerful Rishi, invoked Narayana, the primordial being, with hymns and prayers in order that Ila might become a man. So now, what happened? Vasishtha took a resolve, a sankalpa, that the daughter be changed into a son. And being propitiated, Hari, the all-powerful Lord, the master of all, gave him the desired boon by converting the female Ila into a noble and strong male named Sudyumna. So now the Ila was changed into a boy, and the name was Sudyumna. And O king, what happened was one day, attended by some of his high officers, Sudyumna got upon a horse of Sindhu breed and went on to the forest on a hunt. And equipped with his attractive bow and unique shafts and protected by his mail, he went northwards pursuing a deer. At that, Prince entered into the forest of the valleys of Meru, where the all-powerful Shiva was sporting with Uma. And as soon as he entered that region, the accomplished warrior Sudyumna found himself transformed into a woman and his horse into a mare. So both happened. They were both. They became women. The horse as well as Sudyumna became now Ela, back to Ela. And all his followers too found a similar sex transformation in themselves also, and much puzzled and distressed at this began to look at each other. So Raja Parikshit said, so now Raja Parikshit is asking Lord Sanaka, oh worshipful one, how did a region with such properties come into existence? Who was responsible for this arrangement? Please tell me all about it, as I feel very curious to know all the details. Sorry, it is Shuka, sorry. And Sri Shuka said, once some very austere rishis, whose radiance dispelled the darkness in the quarters and also drowned the brightness of all other bodies, went to this region for meeting Shiva, the master of the mountain. And seeing them, Ampiga, who was then sitting without any dress in the lap of Shiva, got up in great bashfulness and put on her dress. The rishis too, seeing the engrossment of the divine couple, turned away and went to the ashrama of Naranarayana at Badari. Thereupon, in order to please his consort, Shiva declared that any man who entered that forest would be converted into a woman. And from that time onwards, men avoided that forest. So Sudimna and his followers now moved from forest to forest in the form of women. So this was the story. And in this, there is also a slight deviation. And it is said that Uma, or goddess Parvati, and Lord Shiva were sitting, and goddess Uma was sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva, not wearing any dress. And also Shiva was, as usual, he was also naked. So seeing this, what happened was, this the rishis, they turned away. And what happened was, then Lord Shiva, in order to please Lord Devi Parvati, made this resolution or sankalpa that whosoever will become a woman, this forest area. And in this story, I mean, of course, there is a slight deviation here. And he was saying that they were sporting or all these things. But it's very, in one sense, it's very not befitting for Lord Shiva and Devi Parvati to have such a physical relationship. And in one of the stories also, what happened was a highly accomplished rishi. He also, one day, when he went and visited Lord Shiva, the same thing happened. And he was seeing Lord Shiva and Parvati sitting in the same, like similar posture without any dress. And out of his mouth suddenly came the word, oh. So, like in Malayalam it says, Ayye, means, oh, so shameful. Why are they sitting like this? So, it is said that the rishi, because of this, he had to go back to earth, be born as a human being, and again had to do his austerity. So here, there is a spiritual truth that which we all have to understand. And it can be misinterpreted very easily. Why does Lord Shiva and Parvati sit naked without any clothes? Of course, they were one of the founders of nudist colonies, you can say. And Lord Shiva has been attributed so many things, that he was the first one who smoked, marijuana. So everybody now, all the followers of Lord Shiva now can say that, oh, we are also like Shiva. So we have to be very careful when we interpret and when we listen to these stories. A sadhak, a spiritual seeker, even if he sees a naked body, he should not become attracted, or he should not feel any kind of aversion to that. It just, you see a pillar. And what happens? The pillar doesn't have a sex. It doesn't have a gender. You cannot attribute male or female. You can't call it a female pillar or a male pillar. But only in the human body, there is a difference between a man and a woman, and of course in the animal bodies also. And because of this apparent distinction, what happens? The seeker falls a prey for this. And that is how creation started. And this is where creation started, actually. Because a man and a woman, and as they say, there is a similarity to the story of Adam and Eve in the Bible. And how were Adam and Eve in the beginning? They were wandering in the Garden of Eden without clothes. Why? Because if you see, like young children, small children, whether they wear clothes or they don't wear clothes, they are not ashamed. They are not conscious about their body. And similarly, what happens is a sadhak, a highly evolved sadhak, should not be conscious about his body or others' body. And why should he, be thinking about why they are not wearing clothes or why they are wearing such type of clothes? It should not bother him, either one of them. And so by just doing this, what you have to do is you have to understand that this story is to illustrate that how a sadhak should be. And when he reaches the height of spirituality, he should not distinguish between a male and a female. He should see only the forms of the divine in both the male and the female. And that's why when that rishi, when he saw Shiva and Parvati sitting, and when he said, oh, shameful, that he had to go back. Because he had not graduated to that kind of a level where he would not see the distinction. And so, what happened, as I said, in the Garden of Eden, how did Adam and Eve lose their, the innocence? So the story goes that Satan came and gave them the apple, right? And the apple was eaten by them. Suddenly, they realized the truth of their nakedness. So what is the significance, the symbolism behind this story? So, then everybody should not eat apple from tomorrow. Right? If you eat apple, then if you are going to have that kind of a distinction and see and have that kind of a feeling, then you should not eat apple. But the specific apple that was given by Satan, and who is Satan? Satan is none other than the mind. So combining today, when we talk about Halloween and all the ghosts coming out, it's none other than our negativities. So it's a day that we have to be careful when all of the ghosts come out from our own mind and not from outside. So here, coming back to the story, when that apple was given to them, they became self-conscious. They become conscious of their own. They became identified with their bodies. And the identification of the body created that distinction between male, between female. And then that's how they had to come back to earth. They went to earth. So this makes sense only from a spiritual aspect, the story of Adam and Eve. If you look at it, you wouldn't make any sense at all. So this is a similar story where goddess Parvati was sitting on Shiva's lap, and where, if you look at that, then you should not have any kind of distinction between a male and a female, and both of them are highly divine, right? Both of them are God and goddess. I'll just give you a simple example. When we look at Amma, many a times we don't even feel that Amma is a woman. And she transcends that limit of a gender. We never think about who Amma is. Is she a woman? Is she a man? As Amma said, in the early days, we used to never think whether that Amma was a woman. And we never, of course, Indian boys have so much pride that they don't want to bend their head to a woman, in front of a woman. And just think about this, going and bowing down to a woman. That's why many men don't come to see Amma, even now. Because they think, going and bowing down in front of a woman is bad. And so that ego is so predominant, but when in Amma's presence, when we come to Amma's presence, it just completely goes away. Why? It's because of Amma's presence. If we go to another woman and we see that woman, the first thing that we're looking is it whether a woman or a man. And that's what we are trying to identify. Here, the distinction completely goes away. And I would like to also conclude with a story, which, not a story, but in real life, once Swami Vivekananda was asked this question. If, in his guru was, as you know, was Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and his wife, he was married to Sri Sharada Devi, and Sri Sharada Devi was only like 5 years old or 6 years old when they got married. And then Sharada Devi came to live with Sri Ramakrishna, and by that time Sri Ramakrishna had so much of spiritual experiences that, he didn't look upon Sri Sharada Devi as his wife. He looked upon her as a divine mother, incarnation of the divine mother only. And so, the culmination, we can just say the culmination of a real marriage is also like this, a divine marriage. That whereupon you look upon the husband as a divine incarnation and the wife as the divine mother. But now we look upon each other as the devil, a devil's incarnation. So forget that. So what happened, coming back to our story, Swami Vivekananda was asked this question. What if you see one day that Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is hugging Sri Sharada Devi and they are having some physical contact? What will you do? So this question was asked to him. And this question has to be answered by every spiritual seeker. That's one of the things, the problem. In our lives also. And we have seen so many allegations against Amma, right? Also that, she's not hugging properly, or all these different allegations have come against Amma. So you know what Swami Vivekananda said? If I see them hugging, I will pluck my eyes out. Because it's the fault of my eyes. And how I see them. That is my fault, not their fault. Because he regarded them as divine only. Absolutely divine. And so if he sees that physicality in them, then it is his problem, not their problem. So you just see the devotion of to his Guru and to Sri Sharada Devi. So that's what is, every time we have to understand. When we impose some kind of a negativity on Amma, it is not Amma's problem. It is our problem. And the Guru should never be, tainted with any kind of negativity. Because Guru is far beyond. And only and then can we reach that height. And this is the same problem which they are discussing here. When the Rishi saw Parvati and Shiva sitting together, he said, "Aye," or so shameful that he fell down. Because it was his problem, not their problem. So we have to develop that kind of a devotion to the Guru. And no matter what we see, what we perceive, is not the reality. Because the mind always, as Amma says, the mind always plays trick on us. The mind is a fool. The mind is an idiot. It plays tricks, so many tricks on us. So we should not put faith on our mind. We should put faith on the Guru alone. So that's a beautiful lesson from this. So with this, we'll conclude here and we'll come to the next session. Om Amriteshwari Namah. अमृतरूपिणी मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणी मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणी मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणि मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् यदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृते वन्दनम् अमृते वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् जनगनन्दिनि जननिरञ्जिनि जनिविनाशिनि वन्दनम् जनगनन्दिनि जननिरञ्जिनि जनिविनाशिनि वन्दनम् सकलसुरमुनिविधिनिषेविनि सुखनश्यामलमालिनी सुखनश्यामलमालिनी अमृतरूपिणि मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणि मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृते वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् प्रकृतिकारिणि दुरितवारिणि प्रणतरक्षकि वन्दनम् प्रकृतिकारिणि दुरितवारिणि प्रणतरक्षकि वन्दनम् अमृतवायिनि जयमहेश्वरि शिवकुटुम्बिनि वन्दनम् शिवकुटुम्बिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणि मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृतरूपिणि मृदुसुभाषिणि अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अमृते वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् अभयदायिनि वन्दनम् पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनाथा
पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनाथा
पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनाथा
श्रीकर जय प्रणवाम्बुज
तनया सुरसेव्या कर जय प्रणवाम्बुज निलया
श्री शिवतनया सुरसेव्या
पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन
पाहि दयामय गणनादा
श्री शिव जय प्रणवाम्बुज
निलया श्री शिवतनया सुरसेव्या
पीताम्बरधर भीति विभञ्जन चारुकले बरविधि वन्द्या पीताम्बरधर भीति विभञ्जन चारुकले बरविधि वन्द्या शांति विदायक नीरज लोचन शिव सदना
शांति विनायक नीरज लोचन शिव सदना
पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन
पाहि दयामय गणनादा श्रीकर जय प्रणवाम्बुज निलया श्री शिवतनया सुरसेव्या
त्राहि परात्पर भूरि कृपाकर मादङ्गानद हृदयेशा
त्राहि परात्पर भूरि कृपाकर मानवदानक हृदयेशा
त्राहि परात्पर भूरि कृपाकर मादङ्गानद हृदयेशा
त्राहि परात्पर भूरि कृपाकर मानवदानक हृदयेशा
रक्ष गणेश्वर विघ्न विनाशक सद्गुरुदायक गणनादा रक्ष गणेश्वर विघ्न विनाशक सद्गतिदायक गणनादा पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनादा
शाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनादा
पाशाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामर गणनादा
शाङ्कुशधर पाप विनाशन पाहि दयामय गणनादा
श्रीकर जय प्रणवाम्बुज निलया श्री शिवतनया सुरसेव्या
श्रीकर जय प्रणवाम्बुज निलया श्री शिवतनया सुरसेव्या
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 गोपाल कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण
गोपाल कृष्ण राधा कृष्ण
Krishna,
Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna,
Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna,
Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna,
Krishna, Gopal Krishna,
Krishna, Gopal Krishna,
Kanaya, Gopal Krishna,
Kanaya, Gopal Krishna,
Shatru Kuruna, Sakha Pandavana,
Shatru Guruna, Shaka Pandavana,
Shatru Kuruna, Sakha Pandavana,
Shatru Guruna, Shaka Pandavana,
Krishna, Vasudeva,
Krishna, Vasudeva,
Krishna, Vasudeva,
Krishna,
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय।
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 ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम 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 नमः शिवाय।
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय।
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो नमः शिवाय।
झूठ जड़ा में गंगाधारी,
झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी।
झूठ जड़ा में गंगाधारी।
झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी।
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे,
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे।
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे।
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे।
झूठ जड़ा में गंगाधारी,
झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी।
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे।
त्रिशूलधारी डमरू बजावे।
डम 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 डमरू बजे।
डम 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 डमरू बजे।
डम 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 डमरू बजे।
डम 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 डमरू बजे।
गूंज उठाओ नमः शिवाय।
गूंज उठाओ नमः शिवाय।
गूंज उठाओ नमः शिवाय।
गूंज उठाओ नमः शिवाय।
बोलो बोलो सब मिल बोलो 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 नमः शिवाय।
ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम 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 नमः शिवाय।
झूठ जड़ा में गंगाधारी,
झूठ जटा में गंगाधारी।
झूठ जड़ा में गंगाधारी।
झूठ
Shivaya. Hari Om Namah 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 Shivaya. Bolo bolo sab mil bolo Om Namah Shivaya. Amriteshwari Mangalam Pranamada Mukti Prade Mangalam Bhuvaneshwari Mangalam Sukridina Ekasraye Mangalam Amriteshwari Mangalam Pranamada Mukti Prade Mangalam Bhuvaneshwari Mangalam Sukridina Ekasraye Mangalam Hridayeshwari Mangalam Hridilasatejormayi Mangalam Mridubhashini Mangalam Vijayada Premagrade Mangalam Vijayada Premagrade Mangalam Vijayada Premagrade Mangalam. जननी वन्दे अमृतानन्दमयी मंगलहारति माधव भवानी अमृतानन्दमयी
Amen.
सद्गुरु माता अमृतानंदमयी देवी की असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।